going on, everybody? We are back, our third, but maybe the best podcast of the day. We've got Miss Kate Coachella with us. What's going on, girl?
Hi, I'm happy to be here. I'm like excited.
I can't tell what I'm more excited about. This podcast, our goal setting that we're doing after this, or the oysters that we're doing after that. I don't know. It's all a blur, but I just know I woke up this morning like wicked excited. Like I jumped out. I was like, Jen, today's going to be a great day.
The only bad part was the weather.
I know.
It's just frigid.
It is so cold. It was like, I think 9 degrees when I woke up this morning, and I had to drive we're putting an office, I think I told you, in Johnstown.
Yes.
And I drove all the way out there. I met with a couple agents, met with Trevor. We're ordering all the furniture, and man, it was even colder out there.
Oh, yeah. I was at a factory this morning.
Oh, gosh.
Talk about like random, but hey, you got to just always know what's happening in the real estate world.
I love it.
Modular, stick builds, you never know what you're getting into.
You don't. So I wanted to start, we're obviously, we're in a new year, and there's a lot to talk about there and unpack with a new year, but like, I'd like to start by like putting the last year to rest. And how do you feel? Like this is the first time you and I have talked about where you kind of finished and how you did. And we've talked in the podcast about kind of where you were going to finish and the challenges that you had. And you still, despite all of those things, you were still able to put together a top 2% year.
I was top 1%.
Top 1%, top 1% year. And I think you did just shy of 18 million.
Yep.
18 million.
Just shy.
Guys, I mean, 18 million is, any number that people, if someone was like 24/7 in real estate, they'd look at 18 million as like, holy shit, that's such a crazy year. Like and again, I don't want to like make excuses because it is what it is, but with what you had going on.
Totally fair.
The fact
not an
that
excuse.
Not only like, dude, I would have been okay if you just did what you did last year, which was 12. Like I would have, if you did 12 million this year with putting together that house, the challenges that you dealt with on the house, like you had a whole full-time job. You basically like real estate was your part-time thing for almost half a year, or more than that, right? If you would have done exactly what you did last year, Kate, with the market being the way it is, I would have said kudos to you. You had a really successful year. Not only did you not do that, you got your house done, which is freaking crazy. And if you guys haven't seen it, please go check it out. Reach out to Kate, let her give you a tour. It's one of the coolest houses in Saratoga. I mean that I've seen. If you weren't on the, we'll
drop you some pictures.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. So it came out like probably better than you guys imagined.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe that's exactly.
It'll be one of the best houses. I don't think I'll ever forget this house.
And you probably never sell it.
Yeah,
we'll never say never.
Well, we're in the business.
You did that, and you were able to grow your business by 33%.
Oh my gosh! See, I don't even think about it like that. $6
million, which is like over $100,000 of income as well.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about that. Like, I guess I'd love to start with just like, how do you feel? Like, how do you feel about everything? You've had, a week to reflect on the year closing out, and like, how do you feel about everything and how it went for you?
So it's funny. Last week, I was talking to Zach, our COO, and I was adamant about what's my final number and getting it correct, which I've never cared about in the past, right? And him and I mean, we're talking splitting hairs, 100,000 or 200,000 or 17 this or 17 that. And I was like, well, what is the actual number? And so I was like consumed by it. And then I was so pissed. Is that crazy? I was so pissed. I come out to the kitchen. I'm talking to Chevy. I'm like, babe, I only finished at like 17 something. And he goes, are you kidding me right now? And I was like, gosh, like, why am I so mad? I should be so happy and so grateful. And I am so grateful. But like, that goal was 30. And in my head, I realistically set it at 20. So when I came out to the kitchen, I had this like failure.
But when you said it, like in beyond,
which I didn't think ever it would happen.
Yeah, but when you said it, like, be honest with yourself, did you anticipate and expect all this shit to happen to you that happened?
Never.
No, because we never can anticipate all of the challenges and adversity that's going to show up. All we can do is react to them when they do, right?
So I am really proud of myself. At the end of the day, I'm really proud, and I appreciate you pushing me to say, go for 30, because if you go 5 times what you think you can do, you're likely to hit somewhere, which is great.
Yeah. And what I always say to people is like, I would rather have you go for a number that challenges you, that you're like, I'm probably not going to reach that. Like our goal was 250. We didn't hit it. We did 193.
Which is unbelievable. Right? Congratulations to you. That's awesome. You know what?
Like, yeah, we didn't, like all the cards didn't fall the way that they needed to fall for us to do 250. And we fell a little bit short. But like, what if I set my goal at 160 and we did 162? Who's better off?
And who's really holding you accountable? It's yourself.
It's all about growth for me. It's not about me hitting certain goals. It's about me establishing a trajectory to a goal that I know is going to really challenge me and push me as a person and make me better along the way. And that's the number that I felt. And 30 was the number that you felt. And hey, you felt short of it, but I'm telling you right now, if you were to survey every single person in the capital region, if they would take an $18 million year without all the shit that you dealt with, just an $18 million year in general, 99.9% of them, if your name's not Kathy Cooley and Jamie Mazurk and Cucchiella, like they would all say, yes.
I know.
Yes, that's a brilliant year. And then you add in all that other shit and it's like, now it's a brilliant year under anyone's account.
Yeah, so, well, I do appreciate that. And I do feel very lucky and humbled that I did have clients and people supporting me. And just, you got to roll up your sleeves.
Yeah. Oh, let's not mention that besides the house, you also are doing a TV show.
Yes, I forgot.
By the way, that costs no time. Like, so it's like when you really take into consideration what you were able to accomplish and the things that you poured time into, it's brilliant, Kate. Like it's literally a brilliant year that you put together. And I want people to look at this and because I have a lot of people that think like, oh my God, if I'm going to do 15 million, 18 million, 20 million, any of these big numbers, I'm going to have to work 77 hours a week. I'm going to get divorced. My kids are going to hate me. That's actually not true. Kate did 18 million while having an amazing relationship with Chevy sitting outside the room that's going to go to dinner with us. She was able to still have a functioning relationship with both her kids. I know because I've gone to a lot of your kids' band parties and all sorts of stuff. So I know that you still make time and do like you're a great mother. Like you built an awesome house and you were a star of a host of a TV show. Like you did a ton of different things that took a lot of time and you were able to do it all successfully. So that's a myth that we can't grow our business and we got to work 80 hours a week and I'm going to lose everything. No, you just haven't structured it in a way where you can do those things yet. Yeah.
And I do think it is a full-on commitment within yourself because failure wasn't an option. And when it feels, we spoke about.
It's funny, we just talked about that in our last podcast.
I don't want to reiterate.
No, it's okay.
When you feel like there's a gun to your head.
And there was for you, basically.
You have to move forward. And you don't know necessarily if the steps that you're taking are going to be the right ones, but you have to believe in whatever those are. And so as you're talking about the reflection, I was sitting in my house last night and Chevy was cooking dinner and I was going back through videos from December 23 of last year.
I know you sent me one.
And I just started reflecting. And it was the first time I've had the actual time to just sit down and do that. And like you're talking about with the kids, in my head, I'm like, I didn't do enough. And Chevy and you, right? You're like, you put on these band shows and you did this and we did that. And in my head, I'm like, I just can't wait till I can do more.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy how we beat ourselves up, but I think that's what also pushes us to
I just talked about this in the last podcast with Sean, and we always rise to not like our highest expectation. And what you're talking about right now, in my opinion, is you're talking about my highest expectation of myself, right? And your highest expectation of yourself is like wicked high. I know you, right? And I know me, and ours are both like, which is why we achieve at a very high level, right? Yeah. But what's really great about you is your lowest expectation of yourself is also high. And we as people, what I've learned is we never usually reach, I don't want to say never, we don't often reach the highest expectation of ourselves, but we always reach the lowest expectation of ourselves.
That makes sense.
And you've been able to do that.
And what's weird is I've actually decided now, because of this year, that now I'd like my minimum. I used to never have a minimum, but now I would like the minimum on real estate to always be at least 10 million. Like that's just bare bones necessity. Lifestyle, the way we want to live, travel,
we won't roll backwards from
but like at least that, almost that's like my
Mendoza line,
my ground now.
Exactly.
Which
and then you just build upon, like that's your base, you know, and then everything that you do moving forward kind of builds upon that base. And like that's kind of how we sculpt it. Like, hey, like I like breaking, we're going to do this literally right after this. Like, where is our business coming from? And then we look at it and we're like, okay, well, we know that about 10 million or 12 million is going to be coming in from referral, from all the things that you do. Yeah. Now, if you want to do 25 or 30, we got to go out and create that 18 million. Where are we getting that 18 million from? And that's for each agent, how each agent, if I look, you and Jamie and Jess and Bo, if I were to ask all of you would have a completely different plan.
Yeah, you have to do something different that your competition isn't doing.
Yeah.
And I have this one idea I'm working on right now. I started it before the new year.
Don't tell anyone.
And it was actually, talk about learning from everyone you come in contact with. It was another broker. He told me about some agent he helped in his coaching program and this one thing that he did. It wasn't in our marketplace. And I was like, brilliant. I'm going to do that in the beginning of 2025. And it's just always having your ears open, your eyes looking around, and just be ready because you never know. And I wasn't looking for anything that day. And now I've already committed to planning it, prepping it. I've got an assistant working on a few things in order to roll it out. But it's like, okay, had I not just taken one meeting for an hour to hear about something he had going on, which we could then do a deal together at some point, which is why you always meet with agents and brokers, by the way.
I was just going to say that. Like, I'm not really reaching out to a lot of people this year. One of the things, and I talked to you about this, is that I got wrong last year as a broker. I spent too much time with outer agents and not enough time with my inner agents. And this year, I want to spend more of like a 60, 70, 30 split with like my agents developing them instead of outer agents. But it always like amazes me how many agents aren't even open to grabbing a cup of coffee with you, even when I say, hey, dude, this isn't about recruiting. You just want to connect, and we do business in the same area. And I thought it would be we have 62 agents, and I thought it'd be beneficial for all of us to know each other. And Nadeem, one of my friends that I was in class with for my broker's class, I remember over the summer, Camille was doing a deal. Nadeem called me because we had a relationship from broker class. I never knew him until then.
Exactly.
So he called me. It's like, dude, I've been working with these people. He's a cop. Like, please, can you just call the agent? I know you're the broker.
Yeah.
Can you just like let them know where we have to be? I know it's in multiple bids. We'll do anything. I called Camille and she was like, oh yeah, it's simple. If you just come in here, like it's a done deal, take it off the market. I told Nadeem, put the offer in and got the guy that was looking for months an offer accepted because him and I had a relationship.
Right.
And I have a relationship with every agent on my team. And we were able to do that.
Exactly.
So guys, it's really beneficial to have, and by the way, you never know what happens down the road. Like you and I had a relationship way before I even tried to recruit you. We were friends first.
Yeah. I actually, that was a non-negotiable for me.
Yeah.
I had to know Brandon personally first.
It should be a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
You're going to commit, like partnering with somebody. I would never partner in any business with somebody without knowing their values, where they're going, their character, their work ethic, right? Their energy. I would never do that.
And what's even crazier is Brandon wasn't allowed to talk business at our meeting.
Yeah.
You guys probably don't even know that. I told him he wasn't allowed to talk real estate.
That was about the first year, right? The first 12 months. I don't think we talked about it. And then I remember one day I'm like, Kate, can we set up a meeting just to talk about business? And
that was my favorite thing that you said to me.
And you were like, yeah, let's do it. And then we did. And weeks later you came here and it was amazing. So let's I got a couple things I want to ask you.
Okay.
So coming off a great year, and obviously it's exhausting too, and you get a little burnt out and whatever. So going into a new year, how do you get excited again about tackling? It's like climbing Everest, getting down, right? Yeah. And then all of a sudden, like there's the next highest mountain that's bigger than Everest and you got to climb that now. How do you get excited about doing it all over again, knowing that it's probably going to be more challenging and probably harder? How do you get excited about that again?
So
what do you do to get yourself excited?
Actually, the last 2 weeks, I've been really taking it quiet and slow.
Love that.
So for me, it's been, I'm home a lot. I'm not out and about as much. I'm reflecting with video, branding, things I've done, things I could do better, but I'm also not trying to do it in one day.
Sure.
And I'm trying to be more pointed at what I need for 2025 versus maybe what I want, because I already know what my 5-year goal looks like. I know what my life, what I want that to look like. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to work backwards, But in order to scale again, I do feel like we need to simplify things.
Sure.
Because we were so all over the place in 2024 that 2025 is more about streamlining simplicity and then hitting it hard and going running again. It's kind of like when you want to go running and you bust out of the gate with like a 5-mile run, but you haven't been running in months. Or you've been running for months and your body's completely exhausted and you shouldn't go do that. You should actually rest to recover or you're going to end up hurting yourself.
And also think about the run. Think about like, I'm a runner. So like I know how I methodically think about it because you're always trying to improve your time. Yes. So you're thinking about like, you're actually like, if you're doing a 5K or you're doing, even longer than that, like a half marathon or something like that, you're always going through where you think you lost time. Where could I have improved? Where was I not as efficient? Like, there was a flat there and I could have gone a little faster on the flat, but I didn't because I didn't want to push it too far. But like I got to the end and I felt really good. So I think I could have made up a little time there. So it's the same thing when we're reflecting on our year.
Yeah,
like we're
but
looking
it's also, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go.
It's also just simplifying it to the point of I actually physically can't, mentally I might be ready, but physically I'm not. Like both those things have to align in order for you to even put forward a good
expand
year.
on that a little bit more. Like I know what you mean, but like expand on that because like mentally and physically, like explain to the viewers like what you're talking about specifically.
So mentally, I'm really excited to work with clients again. I'm excited to stage some houses. I'm excited to inspire other agents this year. There's a lot of things I'm excited about. But physically, I just needed that quiet time to reflect on everything that we did because I really wasn't ready to be out of the house at 6 a.m. Or do I really need to be setting meetings before 9 a.m.? And that was something that we talked about the other day, and that's just having obviously a good partner. He's like, if you don't have to set a meeting at 7:30, don't set the meeting at 7:30 because now that could get back our time with the kids and how we do breakfast or how we have our coffee in the morning or how we talk to each other. And we can actually set up a new schedule versus walking out the door and being on a construction site and you're just at go mode at 6:30 a.m. So it was really interesting because our schedule, I would say we're trying to really figure out the schedule.
It works.
Because I don't even know what 2025 schedule looks like.
Yeah.
But I know one thing for sure is that I'm picking up my kids every day earlier when they get out of school and they're not going till like 6, 7 o'clock at night, which I'm seeing a huge benefit on their mental health, which helps me be better with my clients because my kids are in a healthier position, which makes me in a healthier position to do all the things. And now when they're home at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, either Chevy takes over or I take over, depending on who has an appointment. But that's the coolest part is we're setting up certain boundaries and certain time frames. And to get the best, you want the best to show up. So if you've got an agent who is completely exhausted emotionally or physically, because you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes from the person you hire, if you have somebody who's actually planning those things, you're going to get their A game, whether it's staging your house, taking the pictures, because they are on a schedule that's going to allow you to be the most successful and take home the most dollars.
I was just
There's
listening.
so much more that goes into it.
I was just listening to Mel Robbins on my way here.
Yes.
I love her. And she was just talking about like, in order for you to be your best in 2025, you need to be healthy.
Yes.
Like, and what she meant by that is like, you need to be emotionally healthy. You need to be physically healthy. You need to be getting sleep. You need to be eating right. Like if you don't take care of your body, your mind, and your energy, there's no way that you're going to be able to show up and be at your A game most of the time. No one's at their A game all the time. I'm not.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're not, and no one is. But how can we be at our A game as much of that as possible? Yeah. And I'm telling you right now, if those basic things like your emotional well-being and your like health, like you're not sleeping well and you're not putting the right fuel into your body, if those things are messed up, you have a 0% chance of operating at a high frequency for a long period of time.
Yeah, exactly.
And therefore you won't be able to achieve your goals because you won't have the vitality that you need to sustain the consistency that you would need to reach those high level goals.
Yes. And it's so funny because like you said, I committed to 365 days. I probably took about 5 to 7 days off total. And I took them at the end here.
Yeah.
I will say at like Christmas.
It's not a lot of days off.
At like Christmas, I said, F it. I'm riding it into the new year. And I had 2 deals closing. Really, they were on autopilot. My people pre-signed. Everything was great on my listing. So everything was closing and they were lined up.
Yeah.
And it was the first time where everything was quiet. And I couldn't even believe it. Like, I didn't actually know what to, I actually had so much anxiety, which I don't even use that term typically, but I was like, oh my God, it's so quiet.
And I don't know, like
what do you do with this quiet?
I've actually talked about this. It's so funny you bring this up. So like, you know, I have a therapist and I have a performance coach, and they both like work on different pieces of performance, right? Your mind, and one's a little bit more towards performance.
Sure.
And my therapist, like what we uncovered is that because I was brought up in like an unhealthy type of household, or not, I wouldn't say unhealthy. Like my parents were both really great parents, but it was like chaotic,
right?
Yeah. I developed this like ability where I'm more comfortable in chaos. And I think it relates
to be busy.
It really relates to like performing at a high level now, because like I'm actually more comfortable when like bullets are flying and things aren't right and there's fires to put out and like my head's on fire. Like I actually perform better like that than I perform at peace. But I've also learned you can't get stuck in one or the other. And this is what I work on with my therapist. Like I also want to be healthy inside, where I don't, like sometimes I find myself like I'll be sitting in bed, and this is bad if you're doing this, and you just grab your phone and you start scrolling through shit, because you're actually not at peace. You're not at peace with who you are, because you're just like, you have to be doing something and in chaos in one way, or like immersed in something, and that's not good.
So it's so weird. I had to literally tell myself to not do anything.
How hard is that for someone like you and I?
Extremely difficult.
It's like, and especially the beginning part of that. And I've learned that meditation is what's really helped me navigate this.
Yeah, breathing.
Because it's just like breathing and like, you know, visualization, and it's something I do every day.
Let it go.
Yeah. And it's just like, I'm at so much more peace, and I'm so much more present now, even when I'm at chaos too. It allows me actually to navigate the chaos better, because I'm more like at peace within the chaos.
Okay. So speaking of that, you have all these people around you when you are in chaos, or that are not around you, that are like, oh, they're killing it. They're just crushing it. And it's so funny, their perception of what's really happening and what reality truly is.
It's like the duck above water, right? It just looks like it's floating along, but underwater it's the little feet are swimming so hard.
It's like going under, going up, going under,
they don't see that. They're like, oh, look at the peaceful little duck. Yeah. No, it's like the duck's working really hard. Like you can't see that though.
And you start to really understand the people that you can count on.
Sure.
Who show up for you, and also the people that just want to judge. And so in the last year, my circle has gotten so small. And I'm not even talking, it was pretty small before.
Yeah.
But I'm saying at this point, I mean, if I don't really, like, what is the reason why we're going to spend time together? Like, I like really think about that now. There needs to be a value there. There has to be a value.
Mutual value that both parties are bringing.
And it can just be emotional connection.
Yeah, we have a good time.
Yeah.
If you're leaving a relationship and like you feel drained and you didn't talk about anything good and your energy's shitty, like that wouldn't be a relationship. I don't
want to be around that person.
I wouldn't want to do that.
Like, you're not lifting me up. I'm not lifting you up.
Yeah, we can't relate. What are we doing here? Yeah, exactly.
So on that, you're engaged. Yeah. Congratulations. Thank you. You're getting married soon. And we've both been through good, bad, ugly relationships all over the place. Sure. And everybody in the world has, right? You don't know what's great until you have great.
That's the truth.
And once you have it.
But you also need not great to know what's great too. And I've had a lot of not great in my life.
100%.
Yeah.
And when you can see how much your partner, whether it's a friend, honestly, or a significant other, when you can really feel that they are happy for what you're truly doing and it's not a competition, I mean, hold on to that person, whether it's a best friend or a special friend.
Yeah.
You know, because those people don't really come around that often. Mm-hmm. And in society, we're inherently selfish. Well, and that's fine.
And I think the reason for that, Kate, is because the person, someone that would be excited, whether it was a friend or an intimate partner, that would be truly excited for someone sharing something, would be someone that was like truly okay with themselves.
Yeah.
Right. They wouldn't look at that as a competition.
Actually, that's so
they would
true.
actually have to be healthy inside in order to be excited, like truly, like not, not fabricating.
So right.
They have to be healthy inside. And if someone's not healthy inside, what your success does is make them think about the success that they're not having in their life.
So I'll give you an example. Chevy and I used to run our Airbnb business, and he's a licensed agent. I'm a licensed agent. We both are running our Airbnb business. It got to the point where we were both trying to do the same jobs, but depending on the day, he would pick it up or I'd pick it up. Where we got to the point where I don't like making beds and I don't like cleaning. Like, don't like it. I'm really good at it because I'm a hard worker.
Yeah.
I don't like it. So he literally says, let me just do the cleaning. I put my headphones in, I zone out. I'm happy as could be. I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds like my nightmare. Yeah. I don't talk to anyone. I have to do this by myself. The corners have to, just all the things. Wiping down shower walls.
I got a great question on that topic right there. How do you do, like in your real estate business or any business for that matter, how do you do the things, let's say, for example, you don't like something, right? Mm-hmm. And it, like there's things that, okay, the cleaning, I don't like it and someone's better that likes it and I can pay them to do that, right? We can offset that. I don't like doing paperwork.
But I can go get a client while he does that.
Yeah, exactly. But what happens, and I don't know if there's any in your business that are like this, but it's like you don't like it, but you know that that's the highest productivity thing that you should be doing. How do you get yourself to do that?
You just do it. You just got to do it.
There it is. There's no science. You just do it.
Stop with the excuse. You can't hire out until you do it yourself, because how are you going to teach the next person?
Yeah, of course.
How are you going to delegate it? If you don't even know how to do it at the highest and best way possible,
and not even that,
then don't expect somebody else to come in and just do it the way you think it should be done.
You don't even have that opportunity because you don't have the money to hire out. So you
better be an expert before you expect. I hate when people expect something that they're not willing to do.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, my gosh. It's like my biggest pet peeve.
Yeah.
I have done the grunt of the grunt work any day, no matter what business it is. I'll probably start a new business this year.
I've seen you cleaning. I've seen you doing turnovers for Airbnb. You're doing things that just needed to
I did have to do one the other day.
Yeah. It happens.
But then I kind of laughed about it. We smiled and joked and we got dinner. So that was like
Is there something that you say to yourself, or is it just like you just inherently recognize that this needs to get done and you're the only person?
This has got to get done.
And you just do it. Like there's no thinking about it. There's just I just do it.
Yeah. I might make a comment in my mind, wish I didn't have to be doing this right now. But then the alternative thought has to be, but thank God I get to do this because someone is paying me to stay at my place. And I'm so grateful for that. Yeah. So thank God that I have to clean this right now.
What would you say to yourself in a, for example, I think in real estate,
switch it.
It's a lot of the prospecting. I know you might enjoy that, but a lot of people don't. I'd say people enjoy the face-to-face interaction once they've done the prospecting. This is just what I've seen throughout the years with everybody at core, not core, is that, hey, I love working with my clients. I don't love prospecting to get more clients.
So I don't think anybody really loves prospecting. Yeah. I mean, some people might, but I actually do a B2B model a little bit more where I go and meet with business owners and actually people in the community. And
so maybe it's changing the way you prospect.
It's
to a more enjoyable type of face-to-face thing versus maybe picking the phone up and calling people.
Okay, so perfect example. I used to grind so hard with Airbnb when we got into that world that it ended up turning into listings for me because I was doing the grunt work on their investment. But you have to remember, if they have a rental, that means they're already somebody buying multiple aspects of real estate. So, okay, do that. I remember getting into real estate year one and agents saying, I don't do rentals. And this is before Airbnb.
They say that now.
And they say it now, and I get why now.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm going to do rentals because I'm going to know how to do that. Different. And you know why it helped me? Now, when I rent or buy a property, which I didn't know 5 years ago, I can write my own leases because you know why? I actually took the time to figure it out.
Yep.
So do the work that if you aspire to have properties and do this and do that, you're going to have to learn things that you don't know about in order to set yourself up 3-5 years from now.
That's true. One last question.
I don't even know if I answered that.
No,
properly.
You answered it perfectly. It's just at the end of the day,
passionate.
It's just being I know you super well. It's just being disciplined enough where you know it needs to get done, and you're disciplined enough to take action and get it done.
And change your mindset.
There's
you have to be positive.
In order to go here that X needs to happen. So it's like, I might not be excited about X. I might not like doing X, but X is necessary for me to get to Y.
But I'll change it in a positive way to make it exciting.
Exactly.
I'll say, ooh, you know what? I could go listen to my favorite song right now.
Yeah.
And I'll listen to this.
You'll try to make that activity.
Make it fun.
The most fun way that you can look at it that allows you to get through it. Knowing that you have to do it. You might as well.
Almost trick it. Yeah.
Trick yourself into liking it.
Yes.
Yeah. And maybe by doing that, you actually enjoy it.
Maybe you'll go get a coffee after.
Yeah.
And that's your little reward.
And by the way, also maybe I'm going to do, I've seen people do this too, and it works really well. They're going to set up a little reward system. Could be a coffee. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go to the gym. Whatever they're rewarded, I'm going to eat ice cream, right? I've heard of people just hey, I'm going to do an activity that I don't want to do. And after I'm going to reward my body. So my body it's kind of like the dog and the bell. My body starts, I do something tough. I get rewarded. I do something tough. I'm training my body to do something tough with a benefit on the other side of that.
Yeah. And then you're not going to be as adverse to it.
No, you'll be actually more excited. This will suck for a second, but at the end of the day, what I'm doing isn't going to suck because I know that this is making a difference, whether it's cleaning, whether it's prospecting. Yeah. Picking up the phone and calling 10 people that you might not know, that sucks. But when you get one of them and they list a $2 million house with you, that doesn't suck.
So you know what we used to say on Fitness Tuesdays? We used to say, you'll pass out before you die.
True.
Which sounds so gruesome and terrible. But it's true. You could literally run as hard as you'll also pee yourself before you pass out.
Kate
most
knows
of the time
from experience. She's done this before.
In athletics. So, are you really pushing yourself to as far and hard as you can go?
What's as hard as we can really go? Because once we go there, there's always another level that we didn't think.
This year I unlocked that level. I unlocked a level I didn't even know was possible.
Yeah.
And so can you. You can absolutely do it, but you're not going to know how hard it is until you're in it. Just know that you can have those little rewards and little wins along the way, and that will help you.
So for, to kind of close things off, because I know we've got Kate and I could sit here and talk for 4 hours. We've clearly, it's already been 35 minutes. So if just to close this off, Kate, for any new people, not new people that are seasoned in real estate, people that want to have the biggest year that they've ever had in the real estate business, what would your one tip of advice be? Now that they literally have pretty much a blank slate, you could have not thought about it and still you're fine. Going into the year, this is the best time to give that tip to execute that principle. What's the one thing, and maybe there's multiple things, but what's the one thing? Hey guys, if you get this right, if it's make a 3-year goal, if it's, whatever, maybe it's a internal tip. What's your tip to kind of set the year off on the best note that you can have it on?
Whatever you did the year before, do that, but do something different in 2025. You can't do the same thing.
Well, if you do the same thing and expect different results,
yeah, it's just insanity.
It's insanity.
It's insanity.
Exactly.
So don't make yourself insane. If you're happy with what you did last year, do that again. Repeat. But don't just do something new and forget everything else. You have to build upon that, trajectory in order to go somewhere else.
Yeah, and I think we were talking a little bit about that, with Chevy before we came in. It's there's things that you did that made you what you were this year and made you the results that you did. And I think what's really important, and when I was talking to him, it's how do you get excited again about doing those things, and making sure that you're doing them? Because I've seen a lot of people, they completely pivot and they stop doing what got them where they were. And guess what? Their business falls back on itself really bad because they started adding these pieces, but they stopped doing the foundation.
Yeah, the foundation. Oh my gosh.
It's so important.
I talk about that with my kids every day.
You can't add to this if you don't take care of the foundation anymore.
Yeah, you can't have cracks in your foundation. Your foundation has to be solid and you have to build yourself up. And when you feel yourself getting to that point, take a day, take a half a day, talk to someone. Talk to people who inspire you versus pull you down. If your parent, aunt, uncle, whomever thinks that whatever you're doing is absolutely crazy just because they don't understand it or they come from a different generation or they're in a different job or skill set, go talk to somebody who is the highest, best performer in that category and pick their brain. Just like I was talking about meeting with people. I meet with you, I learn something. You meet with me, you learn something.
100%.
It's always out there and available to you. You
and
just
chances
have
are
to go see
they're
it.
going through a lot of the same stuff. And just to give you like a one-liner because I know sometimes your family, your fiance, your husband, your wife, your parents, I know sometimes they're not like, they don't understand what you're trying to build, especially in the beginning. And my great saying to that, like when they're kind of harping on you, like, why are you doing this? This doesn't make any sense. You had a good thing over here and trying to get you to live their life and how they think you should be living theirs. I just say, hey, you know what, Mom? And I've never had to say this to my mom, but there's other people. Hey, you know what? I'm not asking you to understand what I'm doing. I'm just asking that you support me because you love me.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm not asking for you to believe in my dream. I believe enough in my dream for that. But I'm asking that you support me in believing in my dream because you love me.
And if you can't, then I guess we can't spend time
together.
Correct.
It's like, but I'm not asking you for anything.
Yeah.
I'm asking you for the space for me to go create what I believe is true for me.
Yeah.
And I have to do that. Like I'm here, and if I didn't do that, my soul would die, and I like die inside. Maybe not on,
totally.
On
no, I understand what you're saying.
But like my soul would die, and that like I know you wouldn't want that as a parent, as someone that loves me. You wouldn't want my soul to like not be happy.
And it goes back to if you're comfortable with yourself and I'm comfortable with myself.
You don't care.
You don't give a shit.
I wouldn't care if every single person told me, no, you're not doing this. And by the way, like think about some of the greatest people of all time, Thomas Edison creating light, Elon Musk, like creating an electric car when they didn't even exist. Like everyone told them they're idiots. Mm-hmm. Like, what are you doing? That's never going to work. The KFC guy, 1,009 no's at 65 before the first person said yes to his recipe. And now it's a multi-billion-dollar franchise. So the point is
say
that
yes to yourself.
It doesn't matter. Long as you say yes and you keep going, it's like there's a chance that your dream might happen. And by the way, it's your dream, not theirs.
And it's more likely to happen because you decided to do it.
100%. 100%.
Say
Kate,
yes.
It's always fire every time you're here. I wish we had an hour today. I'm sorry if we're going over. We should have.
We had so much fun.
It just gives you more to look forward to next time, guys. Stay tuned in. We hope that you have an amazing year. Support, surround yourself with amazing people, like Kate was just saying. And, I hope if you guys have any questions, Kate and I are always available.
Yeah, come find us.
Whether you're at core, not at core, you're in a different industry that's not even real estate. Like I'm happy to connect with you, and I know Kate will too.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for your support. Have a blessed and amazing year. Let's go.